is released for the first time ever on Disney DVD.
I think there's something written here, but it's hard to make out.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
It's an exhilarating, fun-filled adventure with the hilarious characters you love. Now in a spectacular first-ever digital presentation. The Aladdin Special Edition on Disney DVD. With bonus features fit for a sultan.
Absolutely marvelous.
Experience a deleted song found in the Disney Vault. Play new games.
Now I know I'm dreaming.
Soar on a virtual magic carpet ride and go beyond the movie to uncover never-before-seen movie secrets. The Aladdin Special Edition 2-disc DVD. Coming October 5th, 2004. Coming soon to theaters.
It turns on with a whistle.
It was going to be a clap, but I feel my hands are put to far better use working on this. A machine that will allow a man to fly. Please don't do that.
Inventor Phileas Fogg was a dreamer.
By my calculations, I could travel around the world in 80 days.
But nobody believed in him.
Well then, Fogg, a wager. If you cannot, you must never invent again.
I'll take your wager!
This summer,
We're going to stop Fogg by any means necessary!
a man who has always lived life by the book
Really believe we can succeed?
yes, has 80 days to prove just how far his imagination can take him.
We will make history! Or we will die trying! Very impressive. I'd have let go by now.
Now,
Your journey ends here.
he'll have to face his fears.
This is what happens when you leave your home.
I got that!
You meet people.
And he'll have to find the courage
Where are they now?
They're traveling across China.
Your silly bracelets don't frighten me. All right, it's not silly.
to discover his destiny.
I'm seeing the world, working on my flying machine, and learning of new cultures.
Miss LaRoche stays to be my wife. Wife number 7.
You have 7 wives?
One for each day of the week. Do Tuesdays work for you?
This June, Walt Disney Pictures and Walden Media present.
I risked everything, my entire life's work.
For something you believe in, nothing could make more sense than that.
A story about how far you can go.
Mr. Fogg, are you sure? No!
When you chase your dreams. Around the world in 80 days.
Watch out on the right. Oh, no, my right.
Stop helping me!
Sorry.
Coming soon to own on DVD and video.
Coming soon to Disney DVD and video.
Goodbye, New York. Goodbye, Broadway. Goodbye, any chance of becoming a famous actress.
Please, don't be such a drama queen.
Lola may be the new girl in a small town. But she's not giving up on her one big dream. To become a star. No matter who stands in her way.
Carla's the all-time champion. I think you've peaked. Me again.
One girl is finally going to take a chance
Auditions are Friday.
at making her dreams come true. And she's about to discover
I like your necklace.
I like your boots.
Trust me, I'm smiling.
that her real real life can exceed her wildest dreams.
This whole night belongs to you. That girl was a wild teenage drama queen. Life can be so randomly beautiful.
Lindsay Lohan, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Coming soon to Disney DVD and video.
All new on Disney DVD and video. Walt Disney Pictures proudly presents Mickey, Donald, and Goofy in an all-new motion picture event, The Three Musketeers.
I want bodyguards.
Huh? Have I got the men for you?
Oh, boy.
So if you think you dare to get some derriere, you'll know that as a musketeer you be so fearsome. Musketeers sing, all for one and one for all for one, hey! All for one and one for all for one, hey! All for one and one for all, and all for one and one for all, and all for one and all.
Premiering only on Disney DVD and video. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, starring in The Three Musketeers. Summer 2004.
All for fun and fun for all.
And I know you'll do a good job, and see you guys later, okay?
But Johnson is there and scores!
This was one of those moments that the country needed and was looking for, and it was us.
I still get chills from time to time when I watch the end of that game.
Oh, I love Brooks reacting.
It's always interesting to re-experience something that someone experienced firsthand and see what it feels like.
I wanted cameras right in their faces while they're on the ice, so it has an authenticity and a realism, and you can feel it.
This isn't a hockey movie. This is why people are Americans. This is why they feel great about themselves.
Listen to him. We can beat these guys.
This is how I used to cut the team.
In a way, I wish Herb Brooks would have lived to see the finished product here, because the movie is really about him. In the inner workings of his mind, I mean, he had thought about this for a long, long period of time. And then when he put the team together, he made it very clear that it wasn't a case of taking the 20 best players in this country. It was taking the 20 players that could be molded as a unit to give the United States a chance to defeat the Soviet Union.
What interested me was Herb Brooks, a guy with a specific plan and vision to revolutionize American hockey. And I thought there's an interesting movie in him.
You're quarterback in this play.
I said to Gavin, I said, look, there's 3 ways I can do this. I can just be myself, go play a coach, and his name happens to be Herb Brooks, or kind of a medium job, kind of go after it. Or I can go full on, 100% go after playing Herb Brooks, being Herb Brooks. And he said, that's what I want.
Kurt knows what works for him as an actor. He's a movie star. He's like John Wayne in a way. You know, there's this thing that works on screen, and people go to the movies for that. What I want to do is strip all that away and to create a character. And he took the ball and ran with it.
Kurt Russell is phenomenal as Herb Brooks. Has his mannerisms down perfectly.
Why don't we start with some introductions? You know, get to know each other a little bit.
When a shot of Herb appears at the end of the movie, which is dedicated to him, I mean, you're astonished that, you know, you've just seen Kurt for 2 hours, and then there's Herb, and you're not quite sure who's who.
There's no question he was a great coach, if not the greatest ever at that time.
You're missing some of the best players.
I'm not looking for the best players, Craig. I'm looking for the right ones.
Everybody's starting the waivers, right? Body contact is allowed.
It started with, can I teach actors to play hockey at the level I need?
Alone on the breakaway. He shoots, he scores!
It's impossible. Or am I going to get hockey players and teach them how to act?
Let's get it on.
To cast it, we put the net out all over North America and Canada, and you know, we went to Boston and we found a lot of guys, and we also went to Minnesota and found a lot of guys. So I think all the preparation that we did is really paying off now.
Gavin cast the very best hockey player for the role. It's the same way that Herb went searching for his team, and he's been working with these guys as actors. A lot of these guys are going to continue in their acting careers, and I think they've done a great job.
We came aboard from the very beginning, and our understanding of our mission was that Gavin wanted to find hockey players that had the acting gene, as he calls it. So we knew that we were going to be spearheading a nationwide search of hockey players / actors.
We knew it was going to be a huge undertaking. Randy and I love searches. We are guided by Gavin's passion, which was enormous, which really fuels us in the search.
He's really good. Look at that move. Look at this kid.
So in Los Angeles, we had them try out on the ice first, and if they could pass the hockey test, then they were able to audition. In the rest of the country, we had them audition first. Then after we made the cuts acting-wise, then we put them on the ice.
It was particularly demanding because we had so many specific requirements as far as having them resemble the players and their hockey skills.
And even more importantly, as much as possible, Gavin wanted, if a player shot left, he wanted our players to shoot left.
And the desire on a lot of these guys was great because they knew the story. A lot of hockey players have grown up knowing the story, and people were really revved up and excited to be auditioning for it.
Back to one!
We needed approximately 6 weeks of training camp. It was time for them to gel with one another, time for them to get in hockey shape. We worked these guys hard.
Ready, go!
Training camp, it's been tough. They'd be very long days. It actually felt like one continuous day. It never stopped.
Let's get loose. Here we go.
Fighting every day and saying, no, I can do this. I never knew I loved getting hit by pucks. It's fun.
You can't fake hockey. You can't fake those hits, and none of them shy away.
It's been very physical. We've spilled a lot of blood, so it's taken its toll.
No one spends 14 hours a day in a hockey rink. Even the NHL guys don't, but we do because, you know, we're making a movie here.
End of practice. You did it. You did it. Look at this with the camera. If we're not overwhelmed by what this guy does with the puck, and Jimmy Craig barely
It all needs to be about that kick save down there for him. That's what it's got to be about. We knew that this thing was going to be critiqued in a big way. We wanted to make this as authentic as possible. We're not talking about fiction. This happened. This was real. And not only was it real, it was one of the biggest moments in sports history.
The hockey scenes are phenomenally shot, and I thought that the filmmakers stayed very true to the essence of what took place.
When Davey gets that puck, I need to have you make that change. You're coming off the ice. You're coming on full board. Does anybody have any...
We had to break down every single one of those games throughout the Olympics. Who was on the ice? How were they holding their stick? To give us an idea how we're going to execute it, how we're going to shoot it, make it real, and make it what it was like, live.
That's pretty good. That's a whole thing down here. Yeah.
Choreographing each of the plays and the movements was a very cool challenge. What Gavin O'Connor and his team did is they give to me the plays that they decided that they wanted, and I took and animated the plays. The guys watch it, they go, got it, and they go do it.
Hockey's based on improvisation, which makes it hard because we're choreographing it.
The major moments of this Olympics we can recreate.
Shot, the easy save by Tretiak, but Johnson is there and scores with 1 second to play in the period. Johnson is there and scores with 1 second to play in the period.
The closest thing to hockey that I've done is basketball. It's that free-flowing motion, but you're not playing basketball in frozen water.
Start the face-off, post one here, pass from here. It gets through to the side of the net, right? You're late. Okay.
It was sort of like a military kind of battle plan.
You just come through this shoulder and beat him around to the puck. Todd sees him. Todd tries to get the puck back around. 133 plays. A daunting task. I'd never seen anything like this before. Watch this. Look at that battle. Look at that battle on Snyder. That's it. Take a look. Good. That's it. Now somebody take a shot. Yeah. Back to one. Let's do this. Here we go. Then when you try to take cameras out on the ice and take cameramen on the ice and try to film this stuff, you've got a guy going 35 miles an hour as fast as he can, in between 2 or 3 cameras on the ice. It's crazy.
Depending on the dynamics of the move and what we need to see, we pick the tool that's right for that particular move.
Yeah. And then turn around and we actually, sort of pan across faces.
We get TV coverage, which is all the cameras are outside of the ice until the photo lens is following the play around. Then what we do is we look at that and we decide where we want to get in on the ice and get in on the action. We've developed a sled cam, which is our own sort of version of a dolly on ice. It's very versatile, so the operator can actually pan 360 degrees around while 2 skaters are pushing him through the action. We're using a pogo cam, which is nothing that we invented, but I think the way that we're using it is very innovative. We have a skater who skates around between the players, choreographs himself into the plays. So you feel the speed. So you're sitting in your theater seat and you're moving along at 32 miles an hour along with the skaters. It's very cool.
Don't kill the camera, boys.
We used what a rig called a cable cam, which is a camera on cables and wires. And you control the camera by computer to get inside the action in a way that I don't think one's ever used on the ice before.
We're getting deep into the game, deep into the psychology of the game, depths that I never knew existed. So that part of it is fascinating. To me, watching hockey was always like a scramble, a bunch of guys chasing a puck around. I'm learning there's a little more to it than that.
Petrov streaking up the board, powering past Ramsey, a centering pass to Varlamov. He shoots, saved by Petrov.
The real players in the front, everybody else behind them.
What was exciting for me was when they came out to the set, we were shooting the Madison Square Garden scene. I think they were very proud because they watched and went, wow, these guys are good. These guys can play hockey. And they kind of look like us.
5 of us walked in, and my player was on the ice at the time, and it was very, very surreal. It was like a time warp.
Their production is so concerned with having this to be a very accurate depiction of the personalities. The funniest thing is to walk in the locker room with these guys and they're all referring to each other using our names. It's like, hey, Rizzo, how you doing? Oh, pretty good, Robbie. Well, that's not their real names, but it's just kind of strange to see it like an alter ego.
Traveling this way, traveling this way, traveling this way. We're going to land on Noah. I came from an independent background, so in independent films, film stock is a really expensive line item. I discovered very quickly in a studio movie, it's not that bad for a line item. And the beauty of film is, unlike stage, you can yell cut and do it again.
Clearly the most challenging component of this editing process was the amount of film that they shot. It was well over 1 million feet, I think 1.3, which is a lot of film for a feature.
What was funny was that, well, I thought it was funny. It's really not that funny when we started to do it, but then having to go through all that footage was painful.
It was all about the hockey. It required a lot of film, and we have to go through all of that.
I was so overwhelmed that I would say to John, God bless you, dude, I'm leaving.
I could take a little rest after this movie, that's for sure, but right away we knew we had something really special that no one had ever done.
Pavlich has it. He makes a move around Håkan Eriksson. Pass across to Baker. He scores! When you see it in the movie, it's different because you're seeing it from a different angle. If you watch the videotape, God knows I've probably seen it 1,000 times. There's only one videotape, and you're going to see the same camera cuts and the same shots and the same commentary. For me, the videotape's a little grainy, the film's a lot sharper. but you can really get to the point where you begin to believe that you're actually watching the real game itself.
Sound design was very important to help realize the movie. When I had gone to some hockey games and got down on the ice, on the bench, watching them, the sounds just continued to sort of resonate in my head. It was so intense.
Gavin wanted to hear everything. He wanted all the right sounds throughout for the crowds, for the skating, for the shots, for every aspect of it.
All the skates, sticks, pucks, goalie moves is all sound effects. It's all sound design.
What we do is take all the elements that the sound editors have gathered and created and mix them all together, find the good balances, and try to make something special with all those elements.
Tonight, we skate with them. Tonight, we stay with them. And we shut them down.
The original recordings done on location can amount to literally 200,000 pieces of sound that make up a movie. For the dialogue tracks, it's just taking dozens and dozens and dozens of tracks and sewing them together to make them all sound real. And the music comes in pretty well taken care of. And in this case, Mark Isham chose to record his music in a true 5.1 recording.
Very early on, it was apparent that this was a big movie, and it was going to need a big score. Gavin pointed out, we're going to have a lot of climaxes. We're going to have a lot of things that get achieved, a lot of wins. But then there's going to be another one, and then there's going to be another one, and then finally you're going to have the one. So you have to always save the really big stuff for that final one. So the one thing that I did was I just scaled the orchestra. We started off with what we called our Mozart Beethoven orchestra. 35, 40 strings, minimal brass, just minimal winds.
How's it looking?
A lot of guys from Minnesota and Boston.
Yeah, that's gonna work.
And then by the middle, we got into what we called our Tchaikovsky orchestra, you know, the Russian orchestra. Beefed it up a little bit more. By the end, by that last reel, we'd gone the full, ultra, over-the-top romantic orchestra, Mahler, Wagner, big as, 110, I think we finally got up to by the end. And we needed every bit of ammunition we could get to keep up with the adrenaline of that scene. All of the post-production team, I think, had to really pace themselves. You don't give it up too soon. And of course, there's a big temptation because there's some great moments that happen quite, all along the way in this story.
The Soviets control it. Kasatonov. Krutov with the puck now. Moving up. Oh, what a hit by Jack O'Callahan. Kasatonov with a shot. Craig knocks it away.
And then there's the Al Michaels call of the game. He's bringing the game to us as if we were watching it on TV. However, we are actually on the ice.
Regarding the big call, the Do You Believe in Miracles call, how can you ask a man to recreate the emotion that he experienced that day? There was so much emotion underneath what he said that it was impossible to recreate. Al and I looked at each other and was like, this just doesn't work. And we sort of dissolved from present-day Al into 1980 Al, and hopefully it's pretty imperceptible. And they cleaned it up, and we have the original call, which I think you had to have. It was just, you had to honor that call.
Johnson over to Ramsey. The 11 gets checked by Ramsey. McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. The countdown going on right now. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
I know that I put the signature line to the end of the game, which on that night I didn't know. I mean, I'm doing the play-by-play, and I say something at the end of the game, and I have no idea how it's going to play out. And I guess if people think of it as a miracle because of my line, it makes them perhaps appreciate it a little bit more. And so when I see the players 24 years later, I'm very happy that they were able to watch this and know that they were a part of something very unique and very special.
What an absolutely beautiful, true, amazing story it is. What real victory is about, what real strife and real, sacrifice is really about.
Sports has always been a great metaphor for life. It was one of those rare moments where a very small sport, really, hockey, America's not a big audience for hockey, sort of took over the nation and became about everything America is about.
Herb Brooks, he was a magical man. He was a magic man. He just seems to be one of those people that in life and in life after, he continues to unify people.
Look at Herb Brooks.
In his own way, Herb was an artist. Herb was able to do something that nobody else had tried and get the players not only to buy into it, but to begin to believe, hey, anything is possible. And that's why I think most people would be of one mind that it was the most exciting sports event of the 20th century.
Let's go, boys. Come on, boys. Come on, let's do this. What are you playing for? USA!
The Circle of Life continues as the legacy of the Lion King concludes in The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride Special Edition.
We are one. We are part of each other. One day I won't be here, and I need you to carry on in my place.
My name's Cobra. I'm Kiara.
Two different worlds must unite.
These lands belong to Scar.
Get out to save the Pride Lands.
What is your destiny?
I will avenge Scar.
Scar, oh, heck of a guy. A little moody, but...
Featuring 6 original songs. Original Lion King voice cast.
Roar! Work with me!
And an all-new short film, One by One, produced by the creators of The Lion King. Walt Disney Pictures invites you to experience the magic of the Lion King legacy and complete the Circle of Life with the special edition release of The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride on Disney DVD and video this fall.
It's one of the most beloved animated classics of all time.
I wish I was a boy.
But that's another movie.
Ow! You're hurting me, dear Blue Fairy.
How many times I gotta tell you, dog breast, I ain't no fairy!
Walt Disney Pictures presents Teacher's Pet.
the musical tale of one dog's dream of becoming a boy.
Needs a boy. Needs a boy. Needs a boy. Needs a boy.
Disney's teacher's pet.
He's good. I wish I had a nickel for every time I've heard that.
The biggest events in sports are on ABC Sports Championship Television.
Holy moly.
This guy is something.
The San Antonio Spurs are your world champion.
This is magnificent. Awesome stuff.
Amazing performance. This is ABC Sports Championship Television.
And I remember just, being absolutely crazy when the clock ticked to double zeros in that game.
That's the story, the underdog story of a lifetime.
This is back during the Cold War. We're thinking there's no way we're going to beat the Russian team.
Here comes our little amateurs in there to beat them.
To watch them come out and play with heart and bring out the best of what an athlete is, that is probably the greatest moment in sports.
29 X-ray, take one. A-Mark.
A-Mark. Action. Okay, boys, let's see. We got on defense, we got OC and Rammer here. We want to stretch things out north and south. And we got the cone heads on the line here, okay? Rammer, take me through it here.
Reverse the puck, hit Bauer, Pav, swinging through.
Right? That's what I want to do, open up the ice. All right, that's what we're going to work on today. Let's hit the ice. Let's go. Name?
Mark Johnson. Buddy Schneider.
What's your name?
Nelson.
Nelson.
Open casting call for hockey players. I just said that's for me.
We saw over 3,000 kids.
I thought it was just gonna be an extra. I was pretty nervous.
Final roster will have 20 names on it, so more of you are going home.
If we don't feel that you're up to par, we're going to ask you to leave.
It was almost like a real tryout.
It's hard, but it's exciting and fun to do at the same time.
Fighting every day and saying, no, I can do this. My casting directors, Randy Hiller and Sarah Finn,
They conducted this monstrous casting session.
We knew it was going to be a huge undertaking. Randy and I love searches.
We put out a massive email on all the hockey websites. We put out flyers at skating rinks. We just got the word out as much as we possibly could. And then it was a numbers game. All across the country, people just put as many people on tape as they could that played hockey.
Some lady called and wondering, people between the ages of 18 and 25 want to try out.
And I just said, hey, I'm going to go out for this movie, having no acting experience whatsoever, and it just felt like it fit, so I had to try it.
My wife's agent sent me the script, so I read it, and I cried, I laughed, I was just inspired. I started skating every Thursday.
We had so many specific requirements as far as having them resemble the players and their hockey skills.
We had them try out on the ice first, and if they could pass the hockey test, then they were able to audition.
If you didn't score a minimum of 28, you couldn't even get in the room to read because you didn't pass the hockey test. 20 is very high, but that was the level we were looking for.
The desire on a lot of these guys was great because they knew the story. A lot of hockey players have grown up knowing the story, and people were really revved up and excited.
You're Robbie McClanahan, right? Yeah. Michael Ruzioni, Boston University.
Let's say instead of a day or so, a couple of days. There are a lot of qualities that Michael Ruzioni had that Patty Dempsey had. He's a leader. Kids really rallied around him.
Patty Dempsey from Danvers, Massachusetts. I'm number 7.
When we flew all of the actors into Ontario, California, the roles that we thought of them for, they fully embodied the personality traits in that situation. Like Patrick Dempsey was taking hockey tape and writing everybody's names on it so everybody would know who they are. And he just automatically established himself as a leader. People just looked up to him.
So would you consider yourself on your team a leader?
Just one of those guys, those locker room guys that just that's the guy that, can, even though they're not the best player, they can hold the team together just because they have a lot of spirit, they have a lot of desire.
The qualities that you're talking about is very analogous to Michael Ruzioni. I mean, Michael Ruzioni was a guy who got by less on talent than he did on heart.
He also, exudes that warmth and the confidence that a Ruzioni had.
I told him he's much better looking than me, but I'm a better hockey player.
I can take that. I can deal with that.
I wasn't an actor, and so he cast me based on how I played hockey, based on how I looked, and based on just the person I am, which I think is so very similar to Michael Ruzioni, which is really kind of incredible, and it makes it very easy on me because I just have to act like myself.
He actually lived in the neighborhood where Ruzioni was from, so he knew a lot about it, but hadn't done a lot of acting.
I just want to be able to match to this. It was a weird thing with Patty because one day just a light bulb went ding. I got it. Don't act.
This isn't right, Herb. Bringing him in this late. We got parents buying tickets, they get in rooms. It makes it hard knowing what to tell them. And with one of us going home as it is.
I don't have to ask you where you stand on this now, do I?
Look, you want me to say I'm scared of getting cut. I'm scared of getting cut. We're all scared of getting cut. We just want it to be fair.
You want me to say I'm scared of getting cut? Scared of getting cut. Everybody is.
Here's a blocking rehearsal, everybody.
I love the camaraderie of the guys and everything that goes together with it. And I think that comes from in here, and if you bring that out onto the ice with you, that's Michael Ruzioni. There were some long days when we first got here.
We would get those kids there at 8 o'clock in the morning. We would take them and we would do some off-ice training. So we would take them in the gym, get them on exercise bikes, get them inside and do top-notch off-ice training to get them in shape and to keep them healthy. Take them to practice for 2.5 hours, and then after practice, often show film.
The plays are pretty hard to get down. There's a lot of guys here that are better players than I am. So when I'm doing a play, I have to work hard and I have to pay attention.
So it says here, 14 swim at X4 and X2. We need to get Snipes out here too, so Snipes, where are you? Right here. We need to have you on the change. Yeah. So with Silky, you're gonna come off, Snipes gonna go on. You get the puck fire across, off his change, he comes down and shot, score around there. Guys got it? Let's walk through it first.
I'm running out of time. Let's go. One more time. Let's go then. We got days to do this. Let's go.
We'd be at the rink for 8 hours, then we'd go back and we'd do rehearsals for 3 hours.
I think we should be very much aware of that we want to not start the scene with just this dialogue, so we want to take the life of what was just happening into the scene.
I think it's interesting to see from his perspective too, because he's the guy who's interested in these like wise remarks.
Yeah.
Like a tough guy, and this is like his sensitive scene for him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a flip-flop. Yeah. You know, by the time you got back there, you're falling asleep. You're just ready to get some food or eat dinner, and you know, it all got tedious for a little while. It was fun, but it got tedious. And why are we doing this? And why are we doing this? And then all of a sudden we got on set, and you say, oh, this is why we did that so many times.
Take 4, A mark. And action.
Have you shot the scene with the goal yet?
No, not yet. I shot the scene where I missed the net. Coach yells at me. That was pretty easy.
I never missed it.
That's in my repertoire, though. I'm pretty good at that. My favorite scene is, it's gonna have to be scoring the goal.
He shoots. He scores!
Just running up the boards, you know. It was the wildest ride I've ever been on. It's just getting crazier.
Take him up! Look for him! Move and hit him, Johnson! He's open! Spinner! Spinner! Come on, Johnson! Johnson!
Eric Peter Kaiser was an exceptional skater. We knew that from the beginning, so we have been thinking about him for Mark Johnson.
You know, I was getting into acting. I was really contemplating not going to school because I really wanted to audition for this because I thought it was perfect. I mean, for obvious reasons, being a hockey player.
Nice play!
The final screening in Los Angeles was way more hockey-based than acting, and I thought it would be totally the other way around. It really was, it was almost like a real tryout for any team I've ever tried out for.
This kid, by the way, Eric Kaiser, number 16, one of the best players out there. He's really good. Look at that move. Look at this kid. He's an awesome hockey player. I thought about him for Mark Johnson maybe also, because we don't have the Johnson. We should just think about it.
I was cast as Mark Johnson. He was the MVP of the team. We actually have a lot in common. He played for his father in college. I played for my dad in junior. So I think there's the same sort of issues you deal with. I've been trying extra hard to make him look as good as possible because he was an unbelievable hockey player.
It was pretty well known that Mark Johnson was one of the best players on the team, and Eric was one of the best players we had, and he also physically resembled him.
It was a really cool experience for me. I hope to meet him.
And I think one of the greatest compliments was Mark Johnson's wife was watching Eric talk to Mark at the premiere, and she commented and she said, God, you two are so much alike, it's freaking me out, or said something like that. And I thought that was like one of the ultimate compliments you could get, and I know that that's what Eric felt as well.
You know, there's 50 plays in this Soviet game, 50. We're putting 3 plays in a day. You guys do the math. We're just getting behind the 8 ball here.
We were told it's going to be a long, grueling process because we have however many plays we've learned to choreograph.
Change. Kid has a tear. Jerry Wheels over there, and OC comes straight across, and hit happens over there.
There were times where it was overwhelming. We're trying to deflect pucks certain directions.
One more try.
Yet make it look like it's spontaneous. That is probably the most frustrating part.
All right, here we go. Rehearsing. Think you can win on talent alone? Gentlemen, you don't have enough talent to win on talent alone. Again.
When we did the Herbie scene, that was a lot of skating. I never want to do it ever again. Herb skates the team until the rink manager shuts all the lights off, and he kept skating them. Yeah, and we did that, and we weren't acting.
I thought it was important to not act in that scene.
Gavin said, I love you guys, but we're actually going to skate you.
Send them.
We shot for 3 days, 12 hours a day on that scene, and I brought all the kids together that morning, and I said, guys, I love you, I respect you, I've become friends with you, but these next 3 days, you're going to hate me, and I want you to understand why I'm doing this, and I want you to understand the importance of the scene, and I want you to understand why I need you to push yourselves as hard as I'm going to push you, because in the end, as painful as it's going to be over the next 3 days, when it's finished and the movie goes out into the universe, it'll live forever. So we can sacrifice 3 days for something to live forever. And that was the approach.
No fake Hollywood and that stuff right there.
I was one of the ones that threw up many times. You know, no one complained because we wanted it to be as true as it was, so we skated our hearts out all day.
This cannot be a team of common men, because common men go nowhere. You have to be uncommon.
It was tiring. I'll never forget it. Everything was real.
I'll tell you one thing. My favorite scene, it's not going to be the Herbie scene.
It was worth it. I mean, I wouldn't want to have faked that because it's such a good moment for the team. And it brought us together, too, because we knew we all were skating for each other, let alone the guys that we're portraying.
Rob McClanahan, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Who you play for?
For you, here at the U.
Nathan is an actor. Grew up playing hockey all his life. He just felt like Robbie McClanahan to me.
What you want me to do? Yeah, I want you to play hockey. I've been playing hockey for you for the last 4 years.
Nathan had a story pretty similar to Rob McClanahan's. He was trying out for a team, and I can't remember if it was pro or not, and he had a knee injury. And he had a problem with the coach, so all of this rang very, very emotionally true to him.
It wasn't like a normal movie audition. I've never been part of something like this. It was like an actual hockey camp. What I was told, the caliber of play was going to be of, like, amazing hockey players, and I played goalie all my life. And now I'm playing forward, which is a dream come true, which is really cool, but going to that tryout, I was pretty nervous.
Nathan West, 39, from Anchorage, Alaska.
Training camp, and we go 6 hours at least a day. They'd be very long days, and it actually felt like one continuous day. It never stopped.
It was time for us to get to know them a little bit, understand what their strengths and weaknesses were, build on their hockey fundamentals, all their skill sets it takes to get this job accomplished. So it was for a lot of purposes, and 6 weeks sounds like a long time, but I'm telling you, you need every hour of every day to get that accomplished in 6 weeks. We worked these guys hard.
ABC, common marker.
When you shoot in one place for a week, it feels like one long day, because by the time you're done, you go home, you don't even eat, you just go to sleep, and then you're right back up in your call in the morning, and you're back on the bus, and you're coming back here, and you're throwing your gear back on, and you're right back in it.
He's got to be an athlete and time this thing out.
Just as the puck
Just as he gets there.
You're about, right when you're about to take that shot, then I'm like, right.
Yeah, and you could just skate in hard, bam, and try to reach that stick in.
Okay.
But this is as tight as he needs to be if we're going to make this shot great.
Okay.
I just wonder if you're here, and then maybe you come to this position.
Take 2, A-mark.
The hell's wrong with you? Put your gear on. I said put your gear on.
That moment in the locker room when Herb, lit a fire under Robbie's ass, but he really was lighting a fire under the team's ass. He used Robbie as his lightning rod.
Bruise on the leg is a hell of a long way from the heart, you candy ass. What'd you call me? You heard me.
There's so much under this one scene that changes in Rob's life. A turn in events for the whole team, I think. And I think it's tough for Rob to see that.
You want me to play, huh? Is that what you want? I want you to be a hockey player. I am a hockey player. You want me to play on one leg? Huh? I'll play on one leg.
I think that'll get him going.
Get up.
Herb really just knew how to finesse his team and finagle them and make them do what he wanted. He's like the little puppets. And that's one thing Rob said to me the other night. He goes, it's like you were his puppet.
Did you ever hear the story?
I think the coolest thing about meeting Rob McClanahan is that we had so much in common. And I've noticed as we go through this process, him and I have connected on a level of we're kind of the same person. It's a pretty neat experience to play another person, especially when you have that much in common.
Schneider flying up the right wing. He shoots, he scores!
The thing about Billy, he is who he is, and he's a good actor, but he's also just so confident and comfortable.
Bill Schneider from Short Minnesota.
Too sick to do anything.
I'm just going with the flow, this is a great opportunity. It's fun out here. I'm glad I came out. I hope I can just do the best I can.
And when Billy came in, and I went, "Are you related to Buzzy Schneider?" And he went, "Yeah, he's my dad." And in my head, I'm like, "Well, you're going to be in the movie if you have any acting ability whatsoever."
Got through it, and I'm here, so I must have did all right.
And for my son to play me, I mean, what better special thing, I think, is having your son play you. Something that was a great thing to be a part of 23 years ago, impacted onto what he's doing today. My wife went in and, boy, she had tears in her eyes watching him out there skating on the ice. His mannerisms are a lot like mine. Of course, he's a heck of a lot better looking than me, too, but he was having a great time.
Billy's an interesting kid because he's one of these kids that just forgot that there was a camera on him, and he would just behave.
He said there was a lot of long days. He said they were in their uniforms the whole day, and he said it was a lot of work involved. He said it was kind of fun at first when he first started, but he said the days got long, and a couple of the guys said, "Geez, we're waiting a long time," but we're thinking, "Geez, guys, this is better than any kind of job you'll ever have."
And he's a hell of a good hockey player. I mean, this kid is seriously good.
Feels great, it's always kind of been like a dream, to be able to put on a USA jersey, play hockey, and especially to play him. It's really important to me.
And he was great. He was one of the Coneheads.
We're the Coneheads.
Cones.
Three of us. We're all kind of from the same area of Minnesota, and we got put together as a line kind of early on in the tryout exhibition season. The guys said they played like they're from another planet, and because of that, I guess the Coneheads was the name, and it stuck.
So the Coneheads are coming in. Who? That's what the guys have been calling them, because, well, they're little, like the Coneheads.
What's that?
Dan Aykroyd, Jane Curtin.
It was kind of the one line that Coach Brooks stuck with, and apparently they played a pretty different style as opposed to the rest of the guys on the team. And
I think it's just basically hard working, no messing around on the ice. Just get out there and play, and hopefully put up a win.
Thinking about keeping the three of you together on the same line. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, pass, shoot, score. Pass, shoot, and score.
Thinking about sitting you down, Jim.
What?
Hey, what are you talking
about? Nah, it's not your fault. I played you way too much and you're too tired. Besides that, I think it's time I give Janny a look. He's been waiting for 7 months. You kidding me? Now? Yeah, of course I mean now. That's my net, man. You can't do that. They just scored 10 goals, Jim. Right now, it's everybody's net. Oh, wait a second. I've given you everything I've got. Now you're pulling the plug on me? Have you? Given me your very best? Because I know there's a lot more in you. A whole other level that for some reason you're just afraid to go to. You don't understand that.
No, I'll tell you what I don't understand. Herb, I don't understand you. No, what? Cut? Done? That's it? It's over?
When I met Eddie, there's the moment he walked in the room, I mean, physically, he resembles Jim Craig. It's a little freaky, actually.
I could skate, but I never been on ice with hockey played at the level that these guys play. So I show up, and word slowly got out that, this kid never played goal before in his life. And instead of, who does this kid think he is? They're all so encouraging and so supportive. And so, literally a guy could come down, shoot a puck, it would bounce off my head. But it was as if I saved it. They went crazy. I was like, I can't hang with these guys.
I think Eddie's desire to learn about the position and the psychological part of the game and knowing how much of the game is played in the mind and, the mental preparation and the mental toughness to play the position is great.
You get nervous when you play a real person because you don't want to upset them, you don't want to hurt their feelings, you don't want to offend them. And someone you respect, you want to do justice to that person and his efforts. I remember he comes in the locker room and he's got a smile on his face and he comes up to me, he puts his arm around me and he wants a picture with me and he grabs a naked goalie stick and he says, "Let me show you how to tape it." It was just such a huge transition for me because I went, wow, Jimmy likes what we're doing. I felt like Jimmy's okay with me playing him.
How's your family?
We're doing all right. Dad's still having a rough time.
What about you?
Getting there. Takes a while, I guess.
Look, Jim, I've got 26 guys trying to make this team, 20 of them who are going to Lake Placid. The only way that you're going to be one of those guys is if you're committed to being here, right?
My mom was the one who wanted this. Me playing on this team. Hard to say no to someone who drove you to practice every day, right?
That's 6 months ahead of us. You're prepared to give me everything you've got? If you're not, don't waste my time.
I'm here, aren't I?
Bottom line is, my mom wanted this. Me playing on this team. I'd say no to someone who drove you to practice every day, right?
You didn't answer my question.
I'm here, aren't I?
What are you hitting like that for, man?
Bush League, OC.
I said OC.
Tell your boy here to keep his head up. You won't have to worry about it.
Tell your boy to keep his head up. You don't have to worry about it.
There's a strut in Michael Mantenuto's walk and a sense of humor and playfulness, and he lives every moment to the fullest that I think embodied what we knew of Jack O'Callahan.
Hi, my name's Mike Mantenuto. I'm from Boston, Mass. And I'm willing to get naked on camera.
He was on a fishing boat off Gloucester. When he heard about the audition, we could see there was a lot of ability, and Michael had done some acting as well as playing hockey.
I mean, he was right there.
That was 6 months ago.
So you don't think the guy's been skating?
Not with us, he hasn't. So there's a difference.
He wasn't afraid of anything. He would take anybody on.
I have like a passion for what I do. I don't believe in doing something half-assed. All they said was like, you know, he's Jack, he's a tough Boston kid, kind of charismatic, and he's the first guy to drop his gloves. So I went out to auditions, and I ended up getting to a fight. In the auditions, not even really looking for that, but it happened, and I think that really helped. Like, all right, that's Jack.
You know, we share some common Massachusetts roots, so, you know, we're like brothers from another mother, I guess you'd say, right?
He just looks like an animal. He's got fire in his eyes, so I take that and I try and portray that, I guess, on the ice. I actually could relate to the Jack O'Callahan character. We were playing for a national championship that year, and I separated my shoulder right before we left for the Super 8. Doc said no, didn't he?
Says you might be able to go back in 2 weeks.
If I can't?
You put me in a tight spot.
I know.
Look, Jack. I got 20 guys to think about. Which is why I'm hanging on to you.
I swear to God, for God, Herb, if you're not being serious right now.
But you have to promise me right now that you will not even think about asking me to play till I tell you.
I won't, I will, promise.
Jack, I got 20 guys to think about here, and they're all looking at me to do what's best for this team.
I understand, Coach.
Which is why I'm hanging on to you.
I swear to God, Herb, if you're not being serious right now.
Only saying this, if you promise right now you won't even think about asking me to play until
I won't.
I tell you.
I will. I promise you, Coach.
Because if you do, Jack, I'll stick your ass on an airplane and you're headed back to Boston.
When we win, that was the most challenging thing for me personally that I've had to do so far, was getting there every single time over and over and over again, because it's such a huge moment.
I've had people say, how'd you get these kids to celebrate like that? Just the sheer joy of, like, it really looks like they just won the gold medal. And it does. But you know what? Every one of these kids have won a championship, whether it's Pee Wee or their high school championship or a big game. They've all been there. It may be on a smaller scale, but that emotion of victory against huge odds, every one of these kids had experienced. So it was just a matter of everyone going back to that place emotionally where they've had that experience. It's as realistic as the guys who won it that day. It really is.
I mean, this is the closest you're going to get to playing on the Olympic team. And we are playing for the United States of America.
Listen to him.
I was talking with Nathan West. He was saying this is like a dream come true. And I said, no, it isn't. I said, because never in a million years could I have dreamed something up like this.
They're playing the sport that is their passion. And they're in a film, which is something that they love. So they're all experiencing this together and learning together and supporting each other together. It's really emotional. They fell in love with each other as much as the real 1980 U.S. Olympic team. I wouldn't be surprised if 5 years from now these guys are having reunions, and 10 years there's another reunion, just like the 80 team.
We're as much of a team as any team I've ever been on, the guys that made it. And it was really funny because just the sort of dynamic of making a hockey movie, it doesn't have to happen. And the fact that it did happen is really incredible. And, you know, I haven't seen a lot of these guys since we left, so it's a good reunion for us, too.
So to play this guy, to fill his shoes and just go on a roller coaster for 5 months was the time of my life.
And the actors did a wonderful job. They're part of our family now.
Okay, boys, let's see. We got on defense, we got OC and Rammer here. We want to stretch things out north and south. And we got the cone. That's what I want to do, open up the ice.
All right, that's what we're going to work on today. Let's hit the ice. Let's go.
Back door, OC, look out!
Sound design was a very important element to help realize the movie. And I knew that well before pre-production.
All the skates, sticks, pucks, goalie moves is all sound effects. It's all sound design.
50 golf, take one. Hey, Mark.
The sound team is basically broken up into three parts. There's the production sound that was recorded on location, and that person's job is to get the best production dialogue that he can under the circumstances. After that, it's the sound editor's job to take those sounds, clean them up, record sound effects, design sound effects. After that, it's the re-recording mixer's job to put those together and make a movie out of it. We want to enhance the picture as much as we can, and then we want to give it a sense of hyper-reality. We want to take it into a cinematic realm.
In previous hockey movies, a lot of the skating sounds would be done by Foley artists who would have like skates in their hand and just kind of be watching the movie and shushing around like that, and it's done.
Face off.
But in this movie, Gavin wanted to hear everything. He was going for authenticity, and it was great.
I remember when I saw Saving Private Ryan and they storm Omaha Beach, and I remember the sounds of that battle. And it was important to capture that feeling for an audience of what it's like to be in the middle of a hockey game.
I'm a big fan of sound, and I cut a lot of it myself while I'm working. Just to understand the picture, I put a lot of sound against the picture, and we had all of that available to us as we were cutting the picture, just cutting the picture. So I could temp in a lot of that stuff. We got it in really good shape, and then those guys just took it to like a whole nother, level.
And Rob Noakes did a great job with that. He was really sort of scientific in his approach, and another mad scientist.
When you're in an arena, there's so much volume of air, the Doppler of people passing by, the reverb, it's all diffuse sound. So if you were to experience that in a cinema, it would be all this big mushy nothing. So it's not a real true hockey experience, and it certainly doesn't sound like Saving Private Ryan. So for that reason, we shot tons of material, onboard skates, Doppler skate bys. I adapted these microphones. They're little tiny binaural mics, so you can place them here, you can place them here, you can place them here, wherever you like to get the best sound. So this gives us an onboard recording that we can then put in sync so the player's not floating with no sound.
Rob went out and did a lot of recording up in Canada.
I went to Manitoba. I rented a dome rink that's sort of like an old aircraft shell, and we got great material there because we could close the entire rink off to get really pure, clean sounds. I had 7 microphones arranged around the rink to capture numerous sounds that then we can then apply while we're cutting the sound of the movie. It was a very complex mix, and you'll hear how this track is built element by element and then put together into the final mix that you hear in the theater. So this is what we started with.
Get ready!
As you can see, we started out with limited production sound when we received the picture. Michael McGee, the location sound mixer, had 16 microphones on the players, which provide us with their voices. However, we didn't receive crowd or on-ice action, so we had to create that from scratch.
Watch point!
A lot of detail went into the creation of the voices of the players on the ice. We wanted to make people feel there was a war going on, as if they were in bunkers and in trenches. In the final ADR stage, we hired former pro hockey player Vashi Netamansky, who could speak 5 languages, and he led the group in creating the authentic foreign voices.
Make it on!
Johnson with it now.
Al Michaels and Ken Dryden's voiceover is the glue that helps tell the story to non-hockey fans.
Harlamov with a long pass to Mikhailov.
Yes!
Over the blue line to Petrov right in front.
Mixed stems are basically a collection of all the sounds of a certain element folded down and mixed into one set of tracks.
At the point.
This is the final dialogue mixed stem that we end up with after we combine the voiceover, the production dialogue, and the ADR on the ice.
MZ moves it ahead to Pavlich.
Get ready!
He moves through the neutral zone. Ooh, and he's running to the boards by Bill Yeletinov, and the Soviets clear with 3:50 to play in the game.
We cover the main player's skates on camera. Every skate stride is cut exactly in sync with the exact move that the player makes. This is a traditional tuck blade, which is what the Americans wore. And this is a T-blade, which the Russians didn't wear, but it gives you the sense of much crisper, weightier skating. The Russians at the time were a phenomenal team, large, great skaters, and much bigger than the Americans. So if you have a 210-pound skater on this skate, this would sound like a 450-pound skater on this skate. Here are the sticks, pucks, and goalie saves. They're isolated, and they contain the most reverb. They're the loudest sounds that we're going to hear during the games. A lot of detail went into making sure that every pass and shot and save was in sync with what we see on screen. The boards and glass sounds are my favorite sounds because they put the audience right into the arena. We recorded the audience shaking and hitting the glass. We got some really excellent stuff that way. At the Agrodome in Vancouver, Gavin arranged for Elliot and myself to record the 4,000 extras. We wrote a script for the first AD, Pete White, and between shots, he would get the crowd going and recreate scenes in the movie. And that's part of the reason why we had such great crowd sound.
When we get that check going, USA!
Music supervisor Brian Ross and composer Mark Isham create the music stem.
Welcome to the scoring session.
It's either your way or the highway.
I think the horns can probably be more the forte towards the end of 28. Da 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 is all pretty loud.
Gavin and I, one of the reasons that we just took to each other to want to work together right from the beginning was neither one of us is a big fan of overselling anything, of going emotionally over the top. And we both really agreed on that style. So even though it was going to be a big score, a very emotional score, we knew our aesthetic and how to use that size and how to use that emotional thrust was going to be very sympathetic.
The re-recording mixers, Mike and Myron, created a remarkable blend of all these competing interests.
In the end, we could have anywhere from 300 to 400 tracks of raw elements that my job is to sift through, bring down to a workable form for final when we go into the final stage of mixing with Gavin.
5 minutes to play in the third period. Kasatara leaves it for Mikhailov. Mikhailov moves it over to Harlamov. Slap shot. Knocked away by Craig.
You know, there are a few what I call design moments where we leave reality. For the start of the third period, there was so much noise throughout the movie that we wanted to try to go almost internalized with the moment. And we did a little bit of sound design there and created a slowdown where the entire crowd slows down to nothing and it's totally silent. And then you come in with the puck drop. Puck drop lands at normal speed, and then we boom, it brings us right back into reality.
Ramsey with the puck. Up to Johnson.
Now this is a real puck, okay? And doesn't really make much sound. Even if you drop it, slap it, doesn't make a lot of sound. So for the puck drops, for puck spinnings, we actually used a weight. And you could spin this, you could flip this, you could drop it, and that's how we got the sound of this.
When you watch this film, when you listen to the crowds, when you watch the hockey, it's very transparent. When somebody in my field does their job well, you don't really notice it.
And that's actually my biggest fear in this movie, is that people are going to think the skates and the sticks are production. And they're not.
It's funny because we would watch this thing, and even though, I mean, we're pretty seasoned veterans and we work in a lot of different, we'd all get misty. It's such a pleasure to work on such a great project, and helping recreate it this way has been a great experience.
Okay, boys, let's say we got on defense, we got OC.
That's what I want to do, open up the ice. All right, that's what we're going to work on today. Let's hit the ice, let's go.
Hi, my name is Gavin O'Connor. I'm the director of Miracle, and I was asked to introduce this portion of our DVD, which I accepted proudly. What you're about to see is very raw footage of Herb Brooks. A few weeks before we started pre-production, we met in a hotel in Los Angeles and spent a marathon session as Herb walked us through his philosophies to the game, his approach to the sport, and his method to his madness. We lost Herb this past summer, and we thought it was important to include this footage as a tribute to the man who inspired this film and whose story we wanted to tell correctly. I hope you enjoy it.
How difficult was it when you did cut Cox? Remember that?
It killed me. That moment, there's two emotional moments for me. That one and then after. That was the emotional. Easy thing to do is send your assistant to do it or post them up. No, I had to do it eyeball to eyeball. You know, it was very, you know, I told a few people the story that when I dropped out of the university to try out for Olympic team, and my dad said, stay in school, study, you're not an all-American, study, stay in school, so I got to find out, blah, blah, blah. So I dropped out, and I was a junior at the university, and I dropped out, and all of a sudden, there's hundreds of guys in training camp between Boston and Minnesota, and all of a sudden, I'll go fast forward on the story. Every day that the coach says, hey, bring your playbook, I want to talk to you. I phoned my father and said, Dad, I'm still here, Dad, I'm still here, Dad, I'm still here. Now 6 months go by, we play a lot of games through Europe, North America, and what have you. Every day I go, Dad, now we're 2 days before the Olympics in Squaw Valley, and we're playing the Czech Olympic team in Denver, and I'm roomed with Tommy Williams, the best young American player. And he and I were the youngest, along with the guy that was a couple years old, Billy Christian, or one of them. But Tommy went right there to play the Boston Bruins with 6 teams. Okay, that's how good he was. And I don't unpack my bags. And Tommy says, "Hey, Herbie, made it. Get more goals and assists. Relax." Tommy, killing me, you know. And all of a sudden, I knock on the door. General manager said, "Go see the coach." And by the way, I said, "Let's see Coach Riley." And he says, "Herbie, I got to release you." And this is a true story, and it's amazing. And I said, "But Coach, I got more goals assists than I can help you. I probably see you've been fine, but I got to go with an older team, and you and Tommy are the youngest guys. And I got to just, go with a little experience. And now I got to go make the call to my father." So I called and I said, "Dad, this whole thing is bull. It's the Eastern coach, fixed all politics." And I went through the whole thing, and finally, vented myself, and there must have been 5 minutes or so. I'm yapping. My father said, "You done?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, keep your bleeping, keep your mouth shut. I've heard enough of that. You get back and thank the coach, get your ass in the locker room, wish your teammates well, and get your ass home." That was my father. God rest his soul. I said, "Yes, sir." So I came home, I'm watching this thing unfold, and the Soviets were just coming into power. The Canadians were the team to beat. They were favored. The Americans got hot, and they won our country's first gold medal. I'm watching this thing on TV. My father looked over at me, Kurt, and he says, "Looks like the coach cut the right guy, didn't he?" Just bang. Looks like the coach cut the right guy. Keep your mouth shut and blah, blah, blah. And he says, there's other Olympic teams. And I use this phrase, and it goes right back to then. You want to make sacrifices for the unknown. All right? And I've given this phrase to Mike time after time, and it was a key thing. And I tell our guys, there's the unknown. You have to make sacrifices for the unknown. We're going there. There's going to be sacrifices for this thing, guys. And I'm pounding this thing all the time. Don't give me your time. Don't give me this is a sacrifice. We're going there. So, and my father said, "You want to make sacrifice for the unknown?" Well, I played in a couple Olympic Games. We didn't win any medals. We had good American teams, And so now I go back to the Ralph Cox thing. Now I got to send him home where I've been in, and it was killed me. I knew that day was coming, and I didn't know how to handle it. It just killed me. But I knew I had to do it eyeball to eyeball, and I couldn't take it easy out.
There's a difference between a method and madness and maniacal.
I think he's a maniac, but there's a reason for it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that some of the
there's a reason
guys,
for it, and the reason is they're being held. But I think there's a difference between being held to your highest standard, because that, as a player, that. It's inside, all he's trying to really do is make me play my best. And the problem is, if I really answer this test truthfully, is I don't like to push myself that hard all the time.
A lot of these guys being college All-Americans, they were never pushed like that, never pulled. And I wasn't trying to put greatness into anybody. I was trying to pull it out way up here. And I don't like coaches that try to put it in because they think they've got all the answers. But you got to believe in them, have high standards of them, and pull it out. And my favorite coach, John Wooden, right here, I think he would concur with that. For me, it was the loneliest year I've ever had in coaching. I was very aloof by design. The easiest thing would be to get involved in them and everything else. But I was aloof, and I did my job. My assistant cried back and said, "Hey, put the white hat on. You're their buddies." And I just, I came in and did my job and left.
How bad did you want this job?
I wanted it bad.
You did?
Oh, no question. I didn't want to just stay at the University of Minnesota. I went to the University of Minnesota to hope to coach an Olympic team. That was my passion. I'd find out where the Soviets were practicing. And they used to have closed practice, and they'd say they're practicing A and they'd be at B. Couldn't find them. They were very, very guarded. But I'd show up and I'd watch them, and he would know that I was really interested in all the things they were doing.
This is when you were...
I was still at the University of Minnesota and getting ready for the Olympics. And then the World Champions '79, we tied the checks with all these young kids. Tied the checks 2-2 in Moscow. He's waiting for me after the game. Give me a great big one of his Soviet bear hugs, and comrade this. Because he saw what we were trying to do. He was a real sportsman. He was trying to
see the bigger picture.
See a bigger picture. Yeah. He was very open about preaching a new gospel of what was happening. And he was the father he would probably more than anybody that changed the whole game in the world, this guy. And when I interviewed for the job, I told the Olympic Committee in the best way I could that we can't be the same old style of play, how we're going to think. All they used to do is take these great college athletes and go play college hockey again, raise a lot of money for the Olympic team, then they go on the Olympic Games and get whacked. I said, we got to change this whole thing. I said, what you have, if you have competition without preparation, there's no development. We had to develop these people. So I said, we'll go play 3 college games to get some money, and the rest I put them in deep water. And then we did a lot of things through our training that was getting them out of that comfort zone, psychological comfort zone, physiological comfort zone. So I thought this hockey club was the best conditioned hockey club outside the Soviets in the world. First of all, I would say, how will we be successful? Right. Okay, will we be successful playing a North American game in the Olympics, a North American style in the Olympics against the great Europeans? No, I mean, it's been proven. So I'm saying that I got to steal a little bit. I got to steal what makes the Soviets so great, or the Czechs, or the Swedes, or all the great Europeans. And as I said, out of the top 10 scorers in the National Hockey League right now, 9 of them are Europeans. Okay, what makes them great? Style of play, tremendous conditioning. So what every time you play the great European teams, and you play for them a period, you hit the wall and die.
Right.
Can't keep up. So we weren't going to hit the wall.
Did you have an idea going into the festival that there were certain guys that you knew were probably going to make this team?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yes. Because if I hadn't, and then my year and a half of research was, I wasn't very smart. Yeah. I had a good idea, but there were some guys in there that were coming along. Rizzioni, I wasn't know if he could play.
Right.
Because I knew him a little bit and tracked him a little bit. I wanted to see how he was doing in this environment, because he was far by not our best hockey player.
Yeah.
He was a great guy and a good leader and that type of thing. So there were some guys that came out of the woodwork, yeah, and there were some guys that, some of the guys at least I had at Minnesota, I knew were flat out couldn't play. The team building thing with the Olympic team, I knew had to be big, because that had to be. So we had to overcome all these obstacles with enthusiasm, with a comradeship, with a great morale in a locker room. Yeah, they had talent. Yes, they were extremely young, but the team building thing was very important for us. Okay, and I was there, and I worked their tail off, and they had to reinvent themselves a lot. They had to reinvent themselves. Their training was different, more intense. The style of play was entirely different from whatever they had played before, because we were now more of a hybrid type of team between the Europeans and the Canadians. But so they had to reinvent themselves, and they only could do this with they had to have a good personal attitude. Plus, they had to be in an environment where it was conducive to team building. The players that we had, they were well-rounded players that could adapt to a whole new style of play.
Right.
Okay, more of an interchangeable style of play and all that sort of stuff. So they were very well-rounded, and they're really tough psychologically. They were hard-hitting, tough people, and that could be pulled, and at times pushed, but mostly pulled, and understood that, great, do it again, and they had a tremendous mental resilience. They were tough young people. Try to keep them all on the bubble as long as possible. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to give anybody the thing that, hey, I played this hockey club. I played my games with Jimmy Craig right up into the end, right? We were playing the Soviets right in Madison Square Garden one day before the Lake Placid. I said, Jimmy, and I knew I had to tweak him again. And he was playing well, but I was going to say, there was a mind thing with him. I said, Jimmy, no. He said, what do you mean? I said, I played you too long, your curveball is hanging, not your fault. My fault. I see elements in your game, you're playing tired. My fault, Jimmy. And he says, what? I said, I got to play Janusek here half the game, and I want to give him some work because I just see some flaws now. And I'm kicking myself, Jimmy. It's not your fault. I played you too long. And he said, it's my job. I'll show you, you dirty, blah, blah, blah. Right. So halfway through that game, I yanked him. Yeah. Right there in front of 18,000 mascot. He came and he was livid. Okay? That was my last tweak with this guy. I knew what I had. And solid goalkeeper, but maintenance guy. All right? If I didn't talk to him, I don't know how much the team talked to me. But anyway, we'd go right in, and I start Craig, and I played him right through, because I know it's that he just but right after we won it, right to me with a finger in my, she said, "I showed you, didn't I? I showed you, didn't I?" I said, "Yep." Yeah, sorry. I said, "You sure did, Jimmy." I said, "You did a hell of a job, kid." We just came off of just getting our ass kicked in Madison Square Garden. What was it, 10-1 or something by the Soviets? 10-3. So we had to come back. I just said, "Hey," I talked to our doctor, I talked to our assistant coach, and said, "Hey, I got to shake these boys up. I mean, they were frozen heavily." So it just so happened, McClanahan, who I had been with for 4 years, and I know this kid, I know his family, and I know what buttons to press with this kid. And so I took the tough road, and he had the bad thing. I said, "Yeah, it's too bad. Robbie's a long way from the heart, kid." He said, "Well, I can't sit down." I said, "Stand up." You know? Holy crap, he's after me, and it was the whole locker room. It's a true story, and what was that? I mean, it could have gone the other way too, and I could have shut myself. I'm just saying that's what happened, and
well, that's what's so amazing about all this.
But I did this. I talked to the doctor about it. I says, "Can he get hurt worse?" No, he's got a bad hematoma. Can he play? It's going to hurt like why? As I said, a long way from the heart. So Robbie just goes goofy, and the whole locker room wakes up, and I sort of walked out and winked at Craig Patrick, assistant coach.
I'm ready to go.
If you get a shot of that, you get a shot at the plan, and stands up the whole game. He couldn't sit down. And he played like hell. He was a hell of a player. Jack O'Callaghan, when he tore up his knee, and he's in Madison Square Garden, I could have just said, "God, I'll bring somebody else in." But he was very important to that chemistry, okay? He was a very charismatic guy. I'll spear you at the national anthem if I have to, and I used him in a sense. That's another little mind game, the story when the whipping boy thing. I know what I was doing, and he was a bright kid, wanted to be you, could have gone to Harvard, a bright, tough, and someone I knew I could trust, and yet I didn't know him. So I told him the story. Now listen, I knew how to, I said, when I say OC, okay, I'm yapping at you, and now the message goes to everybody. I was on his ass. OC this, OC that, and he was, but if I say Jack, I'm unhappy with you. I said, he took it, he stood it, and now guys say, "Oh, Craig Sherv's on OC today. Holy, see that on his ass today." And then he was so good, he would ratchet it up and do a little more and this and that and handle the thing. But it just was part of a team building thing, okay? I could have probably picked this team in July, and I'd been real close. I knew who these guys were, but I wasn't going to let anybody know, let alone the players. And if you declare yourself, now all of a sudden, you got a pro team. Yeah, they said, "Well, I got this team made," or whatever. I kept them on the bubble. That's a key thing. I kept them on the bubble, and there was a lot of different ways to keep them. I told you what I did with Jimmy Craig right there. He was on the bubble. I kept Jimmy Craig on the bubble right the day before. So there's a lot of different ways they kept him on the bubble to keep this up. Some were good, and some I probably would do over. Okay? So that was the math. Yeah, I walked by guys and maybe, nod. I didn't say, "Hey, how's your mom and dad? How's this? How's it? Anything I can do for you?" Right. Might have read something about my skating them after a game.
Yes.
And you just don't do that.
Right.
And we were playing the Norwegians, and the guys wanted their time, and they were a bunch of individuals, and they were listening to their agents, and they're going to turn pro, and they're pissing and moaning and bickering, and I said, So I got to draw a line in the sand right away.
What did they do on the ice that game?
Well, they didn't take it serious. They were not respectful to the opposition. They didn't play with the necessary intensity, with or without the puck, offensively, defensively. They just sort of took a night off. So I told them before, I said, "We get a good workout now, or we'll get it after the game." The guy said, "No, it's ever done that." Well, I did. Would I do it again? Oh, boy, I don't know. I probably not. I mean, that was one of the things that you'd like to have a take back, you know?
But it's interesting because from my research, I've learned that a lot of the guys say that was one of the moments that they sort of crystallized the realization that it's us against him. And there's been a lot of those.
I think that was not so much us against me in the sense, other than holding them to that standard, but I don't think that was a moment where they understood that they got to come to work and bust their ass, and whatever talent they had to come out. I wasn't going to give them a night off. I was not going to let them just, well, it's okay, boys, we had one of those games. No, I wasn't. Every day was important in the building block. I wasn't going to give them a day off, and I was going to hold them to high standards. That was I think that's what they took out of that. Say, hey, we better show up here and bust our ass. The story of Kenny Murray shows up in training camp with a beard. I look around, I didn't want any beards. He had a beard nobody else did. But then I started showing, other guys started growing beards. So I said, guys, about these beards, here's the rules. Whoever showed up with a beard can keep one.
That's fun.
The guys looked around, I said, Kenny, you showed up. This is you, and if you want to have a beard, you got the rest of you guys are wannabes, no beard. I gave him a lot of, and I never had curfews. It's the best player always gets caught in the curfew.
That's a great one. No, because the best player will get caught, and I can't afford that.
Look, a lot of guys would say this. They'd say they'd be walking down the hall, one-on-one, you come in the other way and they're going this way, and you just walk right by them, you wouldn't say a word. Well, the point of it is, now, whatever Herb's method to his madness is, which we understand, but from a kid, a 19-year-old kid, when he witnesses that, he's going to have his own interpretation of that's coming from a child. That's all I'm saying. And by the way, we're in the
That's actually quite good.
It's great.
Because the fact that you don't say anything keeps them.
They were terrified. I mean, Michael was young, he said it, and he goes, I'm still scared of her. That's what he said. I'm still scared of the guy.
What was your feeling about, in terms of loneliness, in terms of the team out there?
Yeah, well,
and what you had done, and at that moment, I mean, was it a bit of a blur then, or?
Yeah, I can't go back, but it was, it was very emotionally for me. It was a very emotional moment, and so I was off by myself, and just a reflecting type thing. But in retrospect, I mean, the whole thing about this whole thing was it was a team that accomplished something, not the little individuals, and to give credibility to that. This team won all the major sporting awards. The top event of the last 100 years was given to a team. Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year Award was given to a team. The ABC Sportsman of the Year was given to a team. All the sporting awards of that year, and the biggest one of the last 100, was given to a team and was not given to an individual. So this is what I was trying to build as a team, all right? And so that is probably the most gratifying thing to me, to have a group being recognized as opposed to Michael Jordan. Great athlete, they're all great young athletes, but it was the synergy that transformed their talents into something else. And that's what I was trying to do.
Okay, boys, let's say we got, on defense, we got OC and Rammer here. We want to stretch things out north and south. And that's what I want to do, open up the ice. All right, that's what we're going to work on today. Let's hit the ice, let's go. Welcome to the Olympics, gentlemen.
Name? Steve Janasek.
Okay, Dave Silk. Go down to the penalty box, hang a left, and the equipment manager will give you your number.
Great.
And by the way, you're cutie pie.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, I love coffee all of a sudden.
Quiet now, folks. There's a map box.
You ever see the movie Groundhog Day? I'll be your coach. I won't be your friend if you want one of those. You see Doc or Credge. Credge. Come on in, boys.
Want to see us, Coach?
Thinking about keeping the three of you together on the same line. Everybody okay with that?
No, I can't stand Pal.
I'd rather not. I'm a Saints fan, so. Okay. I'll tell you what, I want you to go outside. I want you to think about it. I want you to come back.
Okay, sounds good.
Boys, listen up.
I'm checking my hair.
You shine?
Good luck.
You, sir, at the top there, second from the left. Your name?
Some of the boys like to call me Bob.
Bob. It's Bob, is it? Bob. Bob. Okay, thank you, Bob.
Bob.
Bob. I'm all right.
I don't believe it. Nor do I. Well, looks like the blind squirrel found a nut. Well, looks like the blind squirrel got her nut. I'm sorry. Well, looks like the blind squirrel got her nut. Where's Davey? Hold on, I'm going right now. I'm good. Looks like her boyfriend's back from the bathroom, OC. Sure does. I don't believe it. Oh, well, looks like that blind squirrel got her nut, huh, boys?
Herb?
Hey.
Hey, Walter Brooks is on the phone. Walter.
Hey-oh!
Yo!
Now that is a thing of beauty. Best young players in America all on the same ice.